Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And with that being said, here's a quick word from our sponsors. Organic herbs and botanicals, skincare and edibles, wellness for body and mind. The Brothers Apothecary. Fine teas and remedies. Ronald Records. From indie gems to classic hits, discover the heart of local music. With live shows all the time, up close and personal, and regular releases on their in-house label. Ronald Records. Supporting the community, one track at a time. All right, thank you all so much for watching. Again, shout out The Brothers Apothecary, Ronald Records, and Portland Water. Thanks for keeping us hydrated. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
Hey everyone, this is Gregory Caruci.
Hello.
How are you, man?
Doing well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for the invite.
Yeah, why don't you tell us a little bit about, who you are, where you're from, what you do. Give us that Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
Well, my name is Gregory. I am originally from Venezuela.
Oh, cool.
I came to the United States about 8 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of political situation going on at the moment that make me leave the country.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm a DJ, I'm a producer, I'm a creative. I'm a business person as well.
Gotcha.
That's a little bit about me, I love Oregon for some reason. This is been so different from where I'm from.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy to be here, and I really appreciate the opportunity of you having me here.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go ahead then. Let's start back at the beginning.
Okay.
What got you started into music initially?
Well, that's a long story, but I'll try to keep it short.
Hey, as long as you want.
So when I was in high school, I went to a Catholic school,
Mm-hmm.
and at the time, I remember I saw the march band of school at the time, and I was like, what is this? This is amazing. So that really gave me a little spark or interest of this is probably something that I want to do.
Yeah.
So I was only 7 years old at the time, and I decided to join the march band in school. And within the time, my mom and my dad, my stepdad, which is my dad, and I love him. I love you, Dad. So when I moved with them, they own a record store.
Oh, cool.
This was mind blowing for me, So it was called, it is called still open. So it's called El Disco de Oro, which is the golden record, kind of.
Yeah.
The translation of it. So me growing up there, I've been listening to music literally every day. Every time I come from school, it goes straight to the record store.
Yeah.
Sometimes I gotta work there, and I was surrounded of so many different genres, salsa, merengue, house, electronic music, pop, rap, everything, you name it. So with the time, as I progressively growing up, I got my first iPod.
Oh, okay. That's iPods. I went through a small handful of them.
Yeah, so I think we all went through it. So I got my first iPod, and then at the time, I'm already 14, 15.
Mm-hmm.
I left the march band eventually because I moved to a different state, but
And what were you playing in marching band?
I was playing percussion, so I was not limited to one instrument. I was playing drums, and in Latin America we played more Latin kind of instrument, bongos and congas. So I was playing pretty much a little bit of everything. So and in the march band, we kind of have ranks, so it was almost a whole military situation, so where based on your behavior and based on what you do, you could graduate, get rank, and when I was 12 or 13, I was already commanding my whole team of percussion, so it was a really big responsibility that I had at the time. But when I decided to leave the march band, I already graduated from school, I already move on. So going back into the record store of my parents, every time we'll go to a meeting with my friends, we'll go out, where everybody's Greg, can you put music? And I was because I was the only one who actually got access at the time, So
you were the guy.
I was the guy, that was a time where people, every time you had a party or something, say, who got the aux?
Yep.
So I was that guy. So eventually, my friends would keep asking me, Greg, can you play? Greg, can you play? So I got my first, after having the iPod, I got my first iPad. So I was progressively going into technology. And I decided to like download this DJ app on the iPad, which I still exists. I think it's DJ Pro.
Yeah.
Right now. So, you know.
Is that the one where it's like DEEJAY?
Yeah, that one.
Yep.
So I started playing with it, you know, and then every time I go to a party, it's like, now, hey, did you buy your iPad? You know, so okay, we can play with it. It was really nice.
Yeah.
But then me almost turning 17 or 16, 17 at the time, you know, and this is going to be weird, but I remember my dad took me to like a bistro bar for the first time to get a beer together. We both got a little tipsy and everything. And the music sucks, man. In that place, it just really sucked at the time. And my dad was like, he called the manager and told me like, I bet you my son can play better music than what you guys thought right now. And I was like, dude, like, shut up. You know, this is embarrassing. And then the owner was like, oh yeah, you want to come next Friday? And I'm like, what?
Oh, dang.
Like, now you got me into this, you know? So
First gig,
you know? So that was my first full gig. But I didn't have a computer, and I was not going to be able to do this with my iPad, you know? So I don't know how, and this is something that I'm really grateful about my dad, is that he did everything possible to find me my first mixer. It was like a little Hercules mixer. It was almost like a toy. It just had like a fade in, fade out, and little mixer, and that was pretty much it. So I was able to put it together, and in my first gig, all my friends from school show up, and then it was actually a good turn up, you know. And after that, he saw the potential, and then they were like, "Hey." The bistro bar was like, hey, would you like to come every Friday? So now it became like a residency kind of situation, you know. And this was only my first gig. I never DJ like this in front of like a crowd before. But, you know, at the time, they used to give me like a free pizza.
Oh, I mean, you had me a free pizza, yeah.
Pizza, free drinks, and probably like $20 in dollars. I mean, based on the currency and everything. And for me, every Friday after school, I was like, I'm down, you know?
Yeah. Well, also now you were at the spot where like your friends could hang out.
Yeah, you know? So now we have this like thing, you know, it was almost like a little in and out place where you can like dine inside, but like the music was actually like in a out space. Right in front of it, there was a parking lot. So I was the only one of my friends with no car, you know? So the funny part is that all my friends would show up with their cars, and then they would just sit outside, have their drinks, have a pizza, have a good time, you know? So yeah, that's pretty much how I started. And because of my dad, you know, he really forced me into like, you're going to play here next Friday. So I was like, cool.
Yeah, well, shout out to your dad for that one. That is actually,
Dad, I love you.
That is a solid hookup for sure. And also, I mean, like, you know, in all fairness, you probably did have a better knowledge of music than a lot of people, seeing as you grew up in a record shop.
Well, yeah, you know, I mean, sometimes I was responsible of like, I did mixes. So since we have all this library of music that we sell from original artists, we also sell mixes. So if you wanted like I don't know, like a reggae kind of like CD that you can listen at the time, you know, I was able to like get all the songs and like find what like the top 20 or top 30 songs of reggae at the time. I don't know, you know, I put it together into a CD, burn like 20 or 30 copies, you know, I created an album cover in Canva in the early beginnings of Canva, you know, and then just put it out, you know, and even my parents will pay me like a little commission for that if it got sold, you know. So
you really had the entrepreneurial spirit early,
really motivate me into like, you know, getting into this, you know, and working into like, you know, getting the stuff that I really wanted. Because like, since I'm the only son, I never liked when my parents had to get me everything I wanted. Yeah. So I was not gonna say I was not spoiled, but I was a little selfish at the time, you know, and that drive of like, you know, doing something that I like and getting rewarded or getting paid for it, it gave me that drive of like, okay, what else can I do? You know, what's next, you know? But also my mom was really upset too at the time because she's like, look, you're only 16, you know, and like, I don't want you to like not focus on your future and your career, you know, you still got to go to college, you still got to graduate school, you know, so like, I want you to focus first, you know? So I guess she kind of like pulled me like aside and be like, hey, money's good, but it's not everything. Yeah. You know, so she taught me that. And yeah, I think that's how I kind of like started like this whole entrepreneur kind of career, but also the same kind of music, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how it started.
Man,
But
that's a very solid foundation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I can imagine it only goes up from there once you got over to here. When did you move into the States?
So I moved into the state in 2017 when there was the upcoming elections after President Chavez died. I mean, just to give you like a little context of everything, we've been living into like a communist kind of regime for like 15, 20 years at the time. And the guy passed away, you know, he died of cancer, and people would say, okay, what's going to happen now, you know? So this was going to be the first time that we actually got free elections. So after the elections happened, of course, they stole the elections, you know, they rigged everything, and people was really upset about it. And at that time, I graduated from high school at 16 because of the march band. Because I was like so busy going like into like tours and like shows and presentations that I was able to like skip a couple years from school. So I went into like a really early stage to college. So it was 16 and I was already in college, you know. So the political situation is getting bad. The economic situation is really bad. If you think about it, the minimum wage was like, let's put an example, it was like, I don't know, $600 a month, you know, and then from one day to another it's now like $20. So people is like, what are we gonna do, you know? So everyone took the streets, you know, as a form of protest, you know. And when I go to college, I went to study for communication. So I was able to get a job as assistant producer on a radio show.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, I was already like on the same field, but I'm going to open another gap. There's a crazy story, but do you remember Vine? So...
Oh, boy, don't I?
Oh, yeah. I miss Vine so much.
You know, I've heard it's coming back.
Elon, please bring Vine back. I beg you. But... anyways, Vine wasn't like a thing, but it was not really a thing in Venezuela. So I did everything I could in order to bring Vine into my country, because we couldn't just use it freely. So you got to use like a VPN, you know, you got to do a lot of things, you know. So I reached out to them and be like, hey, can you guys like make this app happen, you know? And without even a response, they're like, oh, like, we didn't know that we got like a community in this country, you know. So after they make it happen, I started to create this community of like Venezuelan Vines, you know. So I will enhance people to like, hey, you know, this is a cool app, it's only 6 seconds, you know. So you got to be creative and like no edition, no nothing. You only have 6 seconds to make something happen. So I created a huge community. I have like billions of loops. That's how it was counted before. I have hundreds of thousands of followers, you know. So I created this whole community of like, that was like the early era of the influencers. That was not even, the influencer was not even a word, you know. So I'm doing all this, but of course we know what happened with Vine. It just died completely, you know. Instagram came with the 15-second videos and everything. So I just got to reinvent myself, you know. But in that journey of creating this Vine community, I was able to do a lot of sponsorships, and I work with a lot of brands in Venezuela. So one of them, which was a national radio station, they reached out to me and said, hey, I know Van Dyke, but I seen the things that you do. We would like you to give you a position to see if you can, like, you know, help us with the content and all the creative aspect of our show. So I'm 17. I'm in a whole new city. No mom, no dad. This whole economic and political situation is going on. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to focus on this, you know? And when this is happening, you know, at the time we were still able to talk about politics and about the news and everything that's going on. You know, of course, we're not just going to ignore the fact that the country is going to shit, basically, you know? So one day, we got raided, like, by the government, and they were like, after that, they make me not be on radio anymore, you know. So I was like, okay, this is going like out of hand, you know. My life is in risk right now. So now I cannot do radio. I cannot like work in like this format. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna be a journalist then, you know, just to report everything that was going on. So I started being a journalist, and then in the middle of the protests, I got injured, you know, a lot of repression, you know. I'm not going to say it. Well, yeah, I think I can say that. Basically, I got kidnapped. I got took by the National Guard, you know.
No.
They were like, we're gonna kill you. They're doing all this like mental like
Whoa.
torture. Like you cannot do this. It's a whole long story, but I don't want to go there. But after that, I luckily I survived this situation, and as soon as I see my parents again, they're like, we need to take you out of here, because like there's no future for you anymore here. Yeah. So my dad brought me into Florida. I was like, okay, where should we go? And I really wanted to go to Spain because, like, the language barrier, and I've been there before, and all my ancestors and family are from Spain, so I was kind of like familiar with it. But of course, this economy and everything, we got a tourist visa at the time, so we like, we might as well just go to Miami, Yeah. It's only like 3 hours away on a plane, So as soon as my dad took me here, he was basically like, well, good luck, he like just throw me off here, and then he just took off,
Yeah.
So I gotta put a pause into my DJ. I gotta put a pause into my college career. I gotta put a pause pretty much to everything. My life, my friends, my whole life just changed in a matter of one day, just like this.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into this country, and then it's been that's 2017. So like 8 years now. Mm-hmm. Yeah, about 8 years I've been living here now.
Gotcha. Damn, that is a wild story.
Yeah.
I'm just to finish connecting the dots here then. When did you move from Florida to Oregon?
Well, this is a funny story because Florida is really like a lot. Well, at the time, I'm talking about like 8 years ago, I was living in Miami, and then I was kind of like surviving of DJing. That was actually the only thing that I was able to bring beside my clothes. It was that little board that my dad gave me, So I was doing like little gigs here and there, but I'm telling you, I'm like 17, about to turn 18. So
yeah, you're not even allowed.
I'm not even allowed, Yeah. So I was doing like little after parties for people, but I was not really getting paid at all. I mean, I'm not like, I'm still like a tourist, Yeah. I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, should I stay in the U.S.? Should I just leave? I basically came here as a political persecuted person, So I'm like, well, I didn't know I have access to this, so I just basically apply for a political asylum, And then you gotta wait. It's a process, So it takes about 6 months to a year for them to like see your case, maybe approve it, maybe not, But in the first 6 months, they gave me Social Security and like work employment, so I can basically work and pay my
get a job.
That's all I care, for now. So I did that, and I was like, look, man, Miami, it's like a big city, for someone as me that's young and doesn't know nobody, it's like a really expensive city to live, So I decided to go to Orlando. It was like more low key, like Disney, Orlando, like Universal, all the parks, So it was super chill. And as soon as I got there, I was working for a sushi restaurant. Like, I was barely making like probably like $8 an hour, probably less, So one day I go walking around the street, and then I see a food truck, and I see this Asian dude. He's like, hey, you want a sample? I'm saying, what's this? And then as soon as I take it, that's boba tea. And boba tea is not really like a thing over there. Yeah. Well, at least it wasn't at the time, or at least for me, Yeah. So as soon as I try this guy engaged and started talking to me. We get into the conversation, and we started hitting it off. He's like, yeah, I came from Oregon. I'm just trying my business on this side of the country, And then he's telling me all his story. He gave me food. He let me try all his products, and I was like, he asked me like, would you like to work for me? I was like, yeah, of course. I mean, he was going to pay me like way more than I was making in my other job for the less amount of work. And once I started working for him, literally like 2 months after, he got to shut down the food truck because it didn't work.
Nobody knew what it was. Yeah.
For that, So as soon as he tells me that, I'm like, okay, what am I going to do, And he's like, well, I have 20 other food trucks in Oregon, So if you want, I can pay for your ticket. You can stay here with me. And this guy lives in Camas, so he's
cool.
like right here. So.
Yeah.
And then when he's telling me, it's like, okay, and I check, and he's telling me, yeah, you want to come to Oregon? And I will say, what's Oregon? What's even that? Where is that? And then when I go into the maps and I see where Oregon is, I was like, holy shit, this is like across the whole country.
Yep.
Yeah,
you couldn't go any more diagonally unless you went to Washington.
And I'm like on the far other side of this country, And I just got here,
Yeah.
This guy had a really thick accent. I didn't speak English still, this was like my first year. So as soon as I come here, it's freezing, it's raining, I'm coming from the Sunshine State, I'm like, what did I do? I was so scared, dude. I mean, when I moved here, but I'm so grateful for him. Hugh, thank you. I'm pretty sure that you're going to see this one day, shout out to you and thank you for you're actually the reason that I'm in Oregon right now. So thank you so much. He let me stay with him, he paid for everything. I worked with him, but there was a breaking point for me where I was like, this is completely different of my culture, the environment, the weather. I don't know nobody. I don't know how to communicate, Even though he helped me, I ended up going back to Florida because it was really, really hard, and that's when my parents are like, hey, I think we're going to go, So I'm like, yeah, please. Now I'm going to be able to reunite with my parents, But even though after they came back and I go to Florida, COVID happened. And then as soon as I come back to Florida and COVID happened, I was like, fuck, man,
it was a weird place to be for COVID.
It was
for
really,
sure. Yeah.
Actually, I don't think it was that weird because I think people in Florida, they
were very
super chill
this?
about. They were like, oh, holidays, vacations, time off. Literally, dude, on COVID, on my building, we have a couple pools, because all buildings in Orlando, they're kind of like a resort kind of style. Dude, it was insane. It was party every day during COVID until it was a certain time. They're like, okay, you cannot be outside.
Yeah,
but. No money, no nothing. I don't have a job. And still, even though I was going through all this in Florida now during COVID, these guys he would reach out to me again and say, would you like to come back?
Oh, dang.
And I was like, even though I was like, nah, fuck this. I don't want to be here. He opened his heart and he opens his arm and be like, hey, I'll take you back, Yeah. And that's exactly what I did. So I came back here with a different mindset because I already know what I'm getting into, So it was a whole different situation because as soon as I came here, I landed and literally 2 days after fires. The fires happened.
Yep.
And as soon as I woke up one day, I go into the window and this place looked like Mars. Everything was red. And I was like, oh my God, did I make the right choice again? And I'm still questioning myself oh my God, man, oh my God. But I was working, I remember, in this food truck in downtown Portland. You know where the Voodoo Donuts is? Those 3 food trucks is right there. And before COVID, when I was working there, I was able to experience the lifestyle of the nightlife of Portland before COVID happened. And I'm telling you, it was magnificent.
Yeah.
This city was so alive before COVID. Well, and it's coming back right now, But it was insane,
Yeah.
And all this gap of time, I'm not even thinking about DJing because I don't have the resources, I don't have the money. I lost all my music, So after COVID and I get this job and everything, I got a way better job at Apple. So I'm like, okay, it was a big gap, So a big jump. I'm working at Apple and I'm meeting the most amazing people, dude. I'm meeting all these little geniuses of people that are either creative or they know so much about technology, Not only the people that work there, but also the people that used to just go to the store,
Yeah.
That the Apple culture was wonderful. You get to meet the most amazing people too. And it was really nice. And at that time I'm actually able to get some money, get everything, go through some relationship problems and everything. But once I figured it out, I was able to buy a board again, But I'm still all that time that I spent in Oregon, it's been probably a year or 2 right now. And I'm not going to say not able to make any friends, but I never put myself up there.
Gotcha.
I was so busy. I'm working all the time, I'm trying to get a house, I'm trying to get my dog, I'm not really focused on doing nothing but working.
No, I fully understand that one.
So it was hard, but wait, hold on. What were we talking about again?
I mean, that was basically the gist of it. Is how did you end up here?
That's how I ended up here.
Gotcha.
So, and then after a year or 2, I ended up loving it, man, because I learned English properly, and I'm already so outside of my comfort zone, This is completely a new world for me, especially where I'm coming from, So putting myself in that situation opened a lot of opportunities for me, So that's why I stayed, because I think I'm never going to experience that many opportunities in my life in Florida I got here in a matter of a year or 2, So I'm really grateful for that too.
Yeah. Well, damn. Well, that is quite the experience. Thank you for sharing all of that. All right. Now, before we get into more of what you do with music in the present day, I do have a couple foundation questions I like to check in with everybody on.
Okay.
And this first one is one we ask early. It's one we ask often, and it's definitely a crowd favorite. What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
with my own money. Oh man, I remember this so clearly. Black Eyed Peas, The End.
Oh, okay. Okay, what made you go for that one?
The cover. It was
makes
not even,
sense.
it was not even like who are they or this how they sound. I just saw this cover of like a neon, kind of like 3-dimensional like face, like Matrix kind of looking like, and I was like, I want that.
Oh, all right.
And
Did you know who the Black Eyed Peas were when you?
no, I
Oh, so
didn't
you
know.
you had like zero
I'm a
idea of what you
superficial
meant.
person,
Yeah.
you know. I like everything that's a lot of colors and all that stuff, you know.
No, I gotcha.
So
I
I-
definitely had that.
Oh yeah, and then as soon as I had that, I bought that. I was like, oh my god, I love this
Mm-hmm.
music. You know, that was the first glimpse that I have of like electronic kind of music.
Yeah.
You know, so and after that, my parent, since I told my dad, hey, I think I like this kind of music. Can you show me more? And then he went through like all the folders and everything, and then he put a video on the TV of Tomorrowland 2007 or something, 2006.
Whoa,
something like
that's
this, you know.
cool.
I'm seeing Tiesto, I'm seeing Carl Cox, I'm seeing
Yeah.
like all these big DJs, and I'm like, whoa, this is what I want to do, you know, and this is some kind of music that I'm really like thriving to, but it was culturally not accepted in Venezuela.
Yeah, understandable.
Why? Because like, you know, this is like nightclub music, and this is like kind of like drug music. This
Yeah.
is what they're saying. This is what they're saying, you
Yeah.
know. But and that make me feel like a little bit not secure about it. So, you know, being in Latin America, it was more like reggaeton and like salsa and all this Latin music, you know. So that's how I started seeing like this kind of music as something that I was really like attracted to, you know. So,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah.
dig that. Well, definitely a solid first album.
Oh yeah.
And then what was one of the first live shows you ever went to that was like specifically one you wanted to go to? So like you saw it was happening, got the tickets and went to it.
Oh yeah, I remember this. This was literally like 2 weeks as soon as I landed into the US. It's Raguayana. It's like a Venezuelan band. It's like a trippy Caribbean kind of music, like funky kind of music. I've been wanting to see this guy since Venezuela because like we don't really have a lot of like international artists coming into the country. So as soon as I'm seeing an artist from my country coming into here, I'm like, this is the closest thing that I have from home.
Yeah.
You know, so that was the first ticket. That was the first show that I actually like compromised myself and be like,
really cool.
I only had like $100 when I came here, you know, and
Yeah.
I spent like 30 just going into that show, you know. So I was like, oh my god, what I'm gonna eat tomorrow, I don't know, but I figured it out, you know. So yeah, and I still have the ticket on my house.
Oh, that's
So,
cool.
It's kind of like a good memory,
Yeah.
you know. So
I have a small handful of like show
really?
tickets that were like the
I love
big
the people
ones.
that do that with
Yeah.
their airplane tickets or like when they travel or the like concert tickets, you know, that they kind of like collect that, you know.
It's just it's a good like time stamp.
Yeah.
Take up a ton of space. you know what I mean? Yeah.
And now since everything is digital, you know, it's everything like here, scan this.
I still take paper tickets where I can get them.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. But yeah, that was the first band, and so far they just won the first Grammy last week, the first American
that's exciting.
Grammy. You know, so
Yeah.
I think this is the only the second Venezuelan artist in the whole history of the Grammys to get this. So
Wow.
yeah, so it's actually pretty. I'm proud of you guys. You guys are the best, and you guys are like as fully motivational for me and my career. So thank you so much.
Hell yeah, well, that's a really cool experience. Thank you for sharing that.
Of course.
All right, but now we're going to go ahead and we're going to get more into you in the present day.
Okay.
We are going to get what I'm sure is a very easy one out of the way. How did you pick your artist name?
Well, it's my last name, actually, you know.
Okay.
So I feel like my mom gave me such an American name, you know, like people down there say Jose, Enrique, you know, Luis.
Yeah, and you're just
know?
Gregory.
I was like Gregory. I was like, wait, what? You know, but like I like to. My artist name is Caruci, which is my last name. You know, it has like that little like Italian kind of aspect of it, you know. But and everybody back home, they call me by my last name because it's hard to pronounce Gregory. It's not easy. They call me Gregorio, or you know, it's not easy to say Gregory. It's not common, you know. And in Venezuela, we get to cut a lot the R and the S's, you know. So yeah, but I didn't want it to be like so hard for people to pronounce it, and also I didn't have like that meaningful like kind of like aspect of like, oh, this name represents this, and this is my name, and this is how I want to be called too. So
Hey, no, I mean, it's definitely not a bad bad way to go. I mean,
right?
it worked for Giorgio. So.
Yeah. But no, my mom gave me a really nice name too. So it's like, thank you, Mom. I love you for that.
Oh yeah, well I dig that, and it's definitely it's a cool one. It looks cool. It's got an interesting sound to it. It's not hard to write. It's not hard to read. So all in all, it's a good name.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Now I want to take a moment and I want to kind of go through some of your process as a DJ.
Okay.
And we're going to kind of, this is just going to kind of cover general parts of it. So feel free to kind of answer them how much you would like to. But the first one, this is always what I'm curious about for DJs. When it comes to track selection, what do you look for?
It's crazy because I see a lot of DJs that they have like a structure. They have like an order, or when they have a show, they have like a certain like a list or everything. But for me, it's just the vibe. You know, as soon as I go somewhere, I can read I can read the crowd really, really easy. You know, so. I normally like to start super slow, you know, kind of like, you know, not to be like so like you know, but based on like one or two songs that I always know that they work, it's kind of like a disco, or it's something's kind of like repetitive. After I do that, that's like my my test for people. It's like, okay, let me see how people vibe to this.
Gotcha. Okay.
And from there, I already take a point, and I take that from that point, I take him to somewhere else. So it's like, okay, I start here, and then I'm just kind of like I go discovering. I don't really have like a structure, you know. For me, it's just like the vibes of the people, you know. So I think that's how I like to pick up my tracks. Of course, it's gonna be based on the occasion as well, you know, because I'm doing a wedding, that's completely different than playing into a club, you know. So, but for me, it's mostly vibes, you know.
Gotcha.
So I don't really have like an order to do things, you know. And a lot of, and what's crazy is like it can work, but it also can go really sideways too, you know, because you might be wrong.
Yeah.
But I trust my instinct, you know. So I think that's something that probably differentiates me from other differentiates from other artists too, you know, is that I like to go with the flow, you know, and see where that takes me, because it's like a story that I'm telling, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't want to tell the same story all the time, so yeah, I think that's the best answer I can give to that.
I dig that. And then you kind of mentioned this earlier, so I want to circle back because it is the next question. Do you have any or what are your like go-to tracks? What are those ones that you use to kind of like test the people with, that you're like, I know this will work because most people know it? Okay.
Wow, that's a good one, because like my whole music library, it's like a disaster. It's like it's like an artist room where like all this like paint everywhere and papers and stuff, you know. So I have to like go and sort it out through. But I think one, actually, let me see if I can pull it out. Actually, may I?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. I was just listening to this one not too long ago, and it was I actually have a playlist that it's called My Real Shit.
Okay, yeah.
It's songs that people think that they know, but they're not, you know. So one of them, it's gonna be called El Abuelo, which is a grandpa, you know, and it kind of like sets the vibe of like singing, but it's like super acoustic, but it brings like a kind of like a beat. I'm pretty sure you can put it some piece later, you know. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's like my go-to song. It's called El Abuelo.
Okay.
It's almost like an anthem, you know. It kind of makes you sing it, makes you sing it loud, you know.
Gotcha. Cool. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Of course, man.
Now, when it comes to new music, so like stuff that's coming out like right now, do you like try to pull in new stuff as often as you can, or are you like particular about it?
Well, before I used to always go to like Beatport, or like what's the top 100, you know, and like, but then I was like, okay, this is something that everybody can listen at any sort of point of your life, you know. So I stopped actually using Apple Music. I stopped using Spotify to search for songs. And actually what I did was just listen to more radio shows. and just Shazam. That's like my best tool. That's
Shout out to
the reason that I bought an
Shazam.
Apple Watch, because for me as a DJ, it's kind of embarrassing being in a club, and I'm pretty sure a lot of DJs is gonna agree to me. We all of us are gonna use Shazam for every time we go to.
Well, believe me, I'm not a DJ, and I use it all. I was at the store with somebody yesterday, and I was just like, "Do you know what this song is?" And they were like, "I have no idea." I'm like, "Hey, Siri."
Yeah, I like to be a little more discreet, and that's the only reason that I bought an Apple Watch. So that way I'm like low key press.
Oh, you've got the button already.
Already set up.
Man, that is smart.
Yeah, because I like to be discreet, because it's not like rude or something, but there's like this kind of like weird feeling about it. You kind of feel guilty.
Yeah, because you're like I'm using the song that this other DJ
and you
used.
shouldn't feel guilty about it, you know. But I don't know why we all have the same feeling towards that. But radio shows, I also, every time I ride on the car, I promise myself that I will stop putting music from my phone. Just turn on the radio, man. Because like the radio has been here for like years and years, and before everything, all this technology and everything, and you never know what you're gonna come up with.
Especially in like the Portland area, there are a lot of like people who are not just playing the hottest thing.
Oh yeah,
there's a lot of like KBOO's got a bunch of them. There's a bunch of like the college radio stations.
Oh yeah. Well, I used to be part of Freeform Portland too.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Years, So imagine if someone like me that is showing music that's probably someone might listen or not is putting that out there. I would like you to listen to it. So put your phone aside, and this is probably an advice that I can give to people. Dude, put your phone aside and just turn on the radio. I know it might be annoying for some people because of the ads and everything, but hey, that's the only way radio sustains itself.
Yeah,
so
very much so.
It's pretty much like a YouTube with ads. You already go to YouTube, you have to see the ads, So why not just listen to the radio, So radio has been like a big one to me, especially say like house music radios, like Ibiza radios, or like just online radios in general. Also, even creating radio stations from the song that you just listening to. I love to do that. So when I listen to a song that I really like, I just go and click create station.
Yep.
And so they will give me a lot of songs that might be like similar to that. So
that was actually the early version of the show I was telling you off camera was all like a radio format where I would pick out 14 songs a day. And that was how I would once I landed on something where I was like, I want this to be the vibe of the day. That was exactly what I'd do. I'd be like, start radio, or I would let it because Spotify will automatically start playing similar stuff once you finish up whatever you're listening to.
Don't get me wrong. Spotify, for me, I think Spotify has the best algorithm to find the songs that you might be, that you might like.
Yeah. Now, I mean,
that's something that I miss from Spotify, low-key.
Yes. And I have been using Spotify since I think 2011 or 2012.
Oh, wow, that's a long time.
Yeah, and so my algorithm really knows me well. So I'll get recommendations from artists that have 100 followers or listeners, I guess I would call them.
Yeah.
People who really do not have these millions and trillions of anythings. I'll get people who all of their plays have the less than 1,000 next to them. But there's some really cool stuff out there. Yeah. You just have to use it enough. And I know right now nobody really wants to be using Spotify very much.
Yeah.
I get it. I don't try to promote it too hard. That's why I'm glad y'all watch this on YouTube.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's just that I'm a big fan of the based off of this.
Yes.
Or if you're I try really hard, and I'm sorry, I know I'm talking about me a lot. I try really hard to not stay in one realm of music for too long. I know I have a lot of people who are from different genres here. That's how I live my life. So sometimes if my Discover Weekly or my release radar is a little bit too much in one direction, I will go and just pick songs that have nothing to do with that, and then just start radio from that, or just let it roll into the next, and then keep going further. So I'll wait until I land on a song I really dig from there, and go another layer in, and keep doing that until it readjusts my algorithm.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is something that I'm dealing with right now, is that I've been so digging into the electronic music scene that I'm almost, I feel nauseous sometimes, I'm already over it, so I really need to take a break from it. That's something that I'm doing right now. I'm doing no shows at the moment. I'm producing music, low-key behind curtains. Don't tell nobody. But I need to take a break from it, And sometimes I like to go back into my roots, I see music in a way of also memory. So when I sometimes, and we can go back to how you pick out your track song, it's like I use songs on memories.
Yeah.
So I remember the song. That's how I pick the songs, actually. I don't have them by like the order of like the, I don't know, like the house, like tech house kind of playlist. No, I'll remember the situation, what I was going through, and then I don't know, that's how my brain works. It bring me that song from that specific moment, and I will remember it clearly.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's how I like kind of like get to pick that. So, but talking back about getting sick of the whole genre, I need to take breaks sometimes because it's just like it's way too much, man.
It's important. I think especially now with the like over accessibility to anything, that is kind of the double-edged sword of the like build a radio station based off of this, is that it will only show you things.
Not even that, but also like based on the people that you follow on Instagram too. Every time you scroll, it's like the same thing.
Yeah, and everything is attached to everything just based off of the fact that you're all on one device. Yeah.
So it's just like, it's a lot, but yeah.
No, I totally understand that. Well, thank you for going down that route.
Of course, man.
Now I want to take a moment and I want to talk gear.
Okay.
And feel free to get as technical as you'd like.
Okay.
This is the part where y'all will probably skip through a little bit if you're not interested in it, but I am. So tell us, what equipment are you DJing on? If you make music at home, what are you using there? Like, what does the equipment side of things look like for you?
So the current board that I have right now is XDJ RX3.
Okay, hell yeah.
It's like a dual kind of board with the same software as the CDJ 3000 has, but it's more handy. You can take it everywhere, without having to take all this stuff, So,
the controller game has really changed a lot.
And it's heavy too, So it's pricey too, But I use RX3, and I have my DDJ 400, which is the one to go, like the small one. I don't really play on that one anymore that much because, of course, I have this one, but I like to have it because you never know when a gig might show or an after party or like a boat party or like.
Just leave that where the spare tire used to be, and you're just ready to go 100% of the time.
Oh yeah. But my main thing when I make music is just Ableton.
Okay.
I got to shout out to Daniel because he let me use his student discounts to get it.
Oh, hell yeah.
Ableton is pricey, man.
We are pro Ableton on this show as well. That's how the audio's done. But yes, I am very, very aware.
Yeah, so Ableton, I have a MacBook Pro. I literally put like 64 gigabytes of RAM on that one. That was my time working at Apple. I had a huge discount. I was almost...
Oh, the employee discount is crazy.
Oh my God, man. But they also let you use this like one-time kind of 80% discount on one product.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like one that was like from the year before or something. Like it can't be.
It can be not well. At least when I was working there a couple of years ago, it can be like as new as.
Oh, gotcha.
It can be one product. A year.
Yeah. Okay. A year. That's what I was.
They only let you buy
some kind of limitation.
Yeah, you still have like a 20% off on mostly everything. But if you really want to get advantage of like the biggest discount, you only can have it. You only can have it one time.
That makes sense.
So I knew I was gonna quit, so I was like, okay, I think it's time to use it. So I bought this MacBook Pro and I put literally like 64 gigabytes of RAM. So I want to make sure that all the music is fast. I put like 2 terabytes of storage, but which is
now it's not as much as it probably was at the time.
You'll say this like 3, 4, 5 years ago. That's a lot.
I mean, that's still a decent amount to have internally.
That's
the other part of it.
Yeah, I have like 3 external hard drives.
I was gonna say like with the addition of like powerful solid state external drives, 2 terabytes internally is still even now is still a pretty good amount.
Also at the same time, I pay for Apple One, so they kind of like let me use like 2 or I don't really remember. It's like 2 or 3 terabytes of iCloud storage too, So, but at the same time, for me, the cloud can disappear any moment, So I'm always freaking out about losing my stuff all the time because like, since the moment, even way before I came to the United States, I've been carrying my hard drives. I've been carrying everything. I always have a backup of stuff because I want to, continue that. I have photos from like 2005. I have photos and I have material since like I was like 3, 4, or 5 years old, So I've been kind of like wanted to keep that as long as I can, So I have one hard drive for backup, but I also have a hard drive for the backup of the backup, So, and I also use the cloud. For me, like storage is really, really important, So.
Yeah.
Because I want to be able to like keep everything. And if I lose my music, I'm going to lose everything too.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of your whole realm.
Yeah. So, and I was spending like a lot of money into music. And this is something that it kind of like take me a while to understand in the US is that, you know, back in Venezuela, you can download illegally like so many songs, you know? So that was like, I used to do that because of course I was a kid, I didn't have money. And there's not going to be an organization who's going to be like, you're downloading illegal music.
Yeah, you know? That and like LimeWire was crazy at the time and all of that. Like it was a little lawless.
Oh my God, you download a song and you ended up downloading stuff that you shouldn't, you know? Yep. So that was a crazy time. But yeah, technical wise is that my headphones, they're I don't know, have you heard of them? But they're modular headphones because I had, I have an issue where I keep breaking headphones all the time, man. Yep. You know, it's normal, it happens. So every headphone is like $150, $200, you know? Yeah. So then I saw this European company, I don't know what country they're based off right now, but they sell modular headphones. So all the parts come separately. So if something happened to one part, you can just replace it for like a minimal amount of time. And they also, they use recyclable materials from the sea to make this. So it's a really, really good company. And the sound is amazing.
Wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, you should look it up later. And they also the ones who do this collaboration with Colors. I don't know, have you seen it? But those are those big headphones.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, they're really, really nice.
Damn, that is really cool.
Try that. Yeah, for any DJ out there, if you want a recommendation, III is the one to go for me. So
yeah,
it's affordable. You can replace the parts, you know.
See, that's huge, especially in the world of DJing, because like headphones get put through the ringer.
I feel like the what gets the most out of it is the USBs, man.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's just a nightmare, you know, because I don't know. I really wish I can find a company who can do hard USBs only for DJs. I never seen like a company or like, oh, maybe I'm wrong, I don't know, but I never seen like a tech company design USBs only for that, because every time you pull them out of the device, sometimes they get stuck or they get broken, you know, and people put drinks and like there's a lot going on all the time, you know, and then you have to go through it all the time. Luckily, I found like some USBs on Amazon. They're like rigged. They have like a huge case and you have to like twist it, you know, but I already break them, you know.
That's fair. Yeah. Well, that, and then like you have to figure out like which ones have like the right speeds and like all of that.
And people don't, I mean, at first I didn't really understand how that works.
No, and there's a whole realm of them that like are like thumbnails that are designed to be like fast for those things. Like what's the brand? Patriot.
Okay.
Their Rage drives are really good for that. But I don't want to get too far. That is a little too in the weeds.
And also like when it comes to DJing, you also I thought that having a 500 gigabytes USB was gonna like make it like be good, because I will have like all my music.
Yeah, you have everything.
But at the same time, it didn't work the way I expected, because it's so much information that now the board is not able to like recognize everything as fast as I think, you know. So it's been a lot of times where I'm like trying to play a song and then the song is about to finish and then I'm looking for another song and still like
it's just
everything. I'm like freaking out. I was like,
yeah, that is the downside to like things where it's like without the computer to like power themselves, because they only have this much brain power because there's so much other stuff going on.
At the same time, I mean, I'm not a big fan of DJing with computers, because I feel kind of like it doesn't like ruin the vibe, but it's just like it's too much going on, you know. I like to be minimal. I like to not be carrying nothing, you know, and I like to have everything handy, you know. So, but yeah, I'm not a fan of computers. I love USBs. It's really handy. It's really comfortable, you know, and it kind of like pushes you through to know what you already have. Because in the computer, you can easily just go for the and do this, you know, and like do stuff. But I'm a really big fan of USBs because, and as a DJ, I'm pretty sure a lot of DJs do this too. They're always going to carry their USB no matter what.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like I literally went to EDC and I'm like carrying my USB like, oh.
Maybe they'll let me on.
Oh, yeah. Like, oh, hey, sorry, Martin Garrix didn't show up. Is there any DJ on the crowd? And I'm going to be like, yeah, baby. You know?
Well, hey, you know, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
But yeah, but also there's been times that, I mean, might not be EDC, but maybe at an after party, maybe on a gig, you know, and people will say, hey, you want to play? And say, okay, let's do it. And it's kind of like a fun way to like on the go, you know? So
yeah, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready.
Yeah, of course, you know, but right now I don't carry my USBs anymore because I'm kind of like, not becoming, it's a phase, when I just started, I wanted to play like everywhere all the time.
Yeah.
But of course, because it's like something that I'm passionate about.
Yeah, you want to get better. You want to do it more.
But there's a certain point where you're like, okay, I got to respect my image. I got to respect myself. And to another, like what I do is valuable for me and for other people too, so I'm not going to be just like all doing everything all the time. There's been times that I'm like on a birthday party and people say, can you DJ? And I say, no, dude, I want to chill.
I'm hanging out. Yeah.
Time. Like, let me relax for a second,
It's like asking a comedian to tell him a joke.
Exactly.
And you're just like, this isn't the time. Yeah.
It's like not the time, but yeah.
No, I can respect that. I don't remember who said this. I hate quoting things on the internet, but there was somebody who was talking about, they're like, hey, there comes a point in time where you can't keep doing all the things.
Yeah.
So like, if you're like, I think they were a DJ, so they were giving that example. They were like, if you had 80 DJ gigs last year, you pick the top 20, the ones that made you the most, that you had the most fun with, and the best settings, all of this, and you make it a point to never do gigs like the remaining 60. You only pick up gigs that are similar to these 20
that align with what you're looking for,
or make you more like you do something that, like, instead of doing more and more and more, you do less and less of a higher caliber.
Exactly. And this is something that I have to say to a lot of DJs: stop DJing for free. Stop it. I mean, I see a lot of like owners, club owners, and like people are like, well, you're going to get like exposure. I'm sorry, but I don't eat exposure. Like I don't buy my songs with exposure, So yeah, maybe do a gig like all those renegades that we do here in Portland is really fun, and that you're going to get a lot of exposure, Maybe, at the beginning, because like nobody knows you and you're just getting into it, you don't know how the industry works, of course.
Yeah.
But once you're like sure that this is what you want to do, stop charging. You have to stop charging. And this is something that I have to shout out to my girlfriend right now, because like, she's the one who make me think like that, because I was like playing for everywhere for free, and I will never like take myself, and nobody will take myself seriously, because if I don't put a price on myself, I don't put value on myself, So, I mean, I just wanted to throw that out there, because I think it's really important. And I think that actually is something that changed my whole vision and my whole aspect, my whole career, my income. It changed everything. If you're really working hard, doing your song, putting your set out, dude, you start charging people. I feel like this is a respectable way of living too. So if you really want to do this, just do it, man. So I just want to throw that out there.
Oh yeah, no, thank you for that.
Of course.
All right, now before we move into the next portion, this next question I have is probably the densest question in the interview. But we've talked about your experience with music, the actions, the reactions. But when it's just you and music, one-on-one, what does music give back to you?
It gives me some kind of freedom. It gives me peace because I can be myself without being judged. When I grow up, coming from a country like Venezuela, where it's really close-minded into like the international music aspect, I got really judged for the music that I used to listen. When I was like 8, 9, not even 8, I'm kidding. I was like 14, 15, and going through high school, I used to love like listening to music like Justin Bieber, One Direction, all this Anglo kind of music, and I felt judged all the time. People would judge me for it, and it's like, dude, this is just music. What the hell? So why should I feel judged for this? And there was also a time where, and this was here in Oregon, I was doing a gig. I'm not gonna name the venue out of respect. I was playing house music all the time, and this they had like a reputation of playing like hip hop and rap, and that night was not a hip hop or rap night, and I'm bringing my songs, I'm bringing my music and everything, and this lady came up to me like threatening me, like, how do you dare to play this music? Like, excuse me, what am I doing? This is just music, So for me, what it gives me is that kind of like freedom of being myself, and give me the peace that I'm not gonna be judged. It's almost like a safe space, So I think that's the best way I can put it without like getting into like too deep,
Oh, totally. Well, thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate that.
Of course, man.
All right, now we're going to move on to some hypothetical questions. Okay. And for these, sky's the limits. The questions are all made up, so the answers are allowed to be as well.
Okay.
But the first one is pretty straightforward. If you could work with any one person, the only requirement is they have to be alive. Who would you want to work with, and how would you want to work with them?
Oh, wow. That's a funny one. I've seen a lot of local bands here and there that I would love to work with, but if we're talking about one in it specifically, Oof, it has to be Rawayana, man. The band that I just told you at the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up with them. I feel like they represent the kind of lifestyle that I live. I feel like they represent the culture. And so Beto and the whole team, if you listen to this, let's do something together. But yeah, I love the Caribbean kind of vibe. You know, I feel like it represents very well what I'm trying to bring to my music, you know. So of course I'm more like on the electronic kind of music side, you know, but like I seen them already. They're already making remixes of their original songs, so like onto like a house or like a tech, you know. So since they're doing that right now, like, hey, I'm right here right now, you know. So yeah.
No, I dig that. And then subsequently, who is a local artist that you're aware of that you haven't gotten to connect with yet, but you would like to?
That's a good one. There's this guy that I met at Soho House a couple months ago. I think his name is Brent. The thing is, like, why do I want to work with him? Is because, like, when I saw him playing, I think he's a bass player, actually. Once I saw him playing, they didn't really have a brand. They didn't really have an identity. So it was just him for the pure love of music, you know? So, Brent, if you're seeing this, or if you know, I'm pretty sure I'm going to send this to you later. Let's do something, man. I'm pretty sure what you're doing is truly amazing. You are such a genuine person. So, after this show, I'm pretty sure we're going to talk. So, let's talk business.
And everybody, you know what to do. Add them in the comments. Let's see if we can make that happen.
Let's do it.
And then for this next one, like I said before, sky's the limit, and it's pretty literal in this sense. But if you could perform anywhere in the world, and you wouldn't have to worry about crowd access or building stability or power, it was guaranteed the best show, and it doesn't have to be a venue. It could be anywhere. Where would you want to perform?
My hometown.
Okay.
Yeah, I came from a small town called Puerto Cabello, which is a port. It's a port too. So I'm in Portland right now. So it's kind of for some reason, you know, even though I came to the States, I went to Miami, also a port. And instead of picking any other state, I came to Portland.
Yeah, right?
So I've been really connected to the sea. I've been really connected to the kind of aspect of my life. And I would love to come back home one day and show everyone all the things that I learned in my journey across the world, you know, because I'm pretty sure that my journey doesn't stop in the US only, you know, so I want to like come back home and show everyone what I've been working so hard and what represents me, because they're the reason that I'm the person who I am right now, you know, everything, all the songs that I have to experience, all my friends who told me, let's do a party, you know, can you put some music, you know, I would love to give them that one day again when I come back. And I know I'm going to come back, maybe not now because everything that's going on, but I know I'm going to go back one day, and that's going to be one of the best shows that I'm going to put on, actually. So,
hell yeah. Well, definitely looking forward to that.
Amen.
And then to wrap up the hypothetical question.
Okay.
If you could get one more album from anybody, they could be alive, they could be dead, they could have not put out an album in 100 years, could have put out an album yesterday.
Okay.
Who would you want an album from?
Fun.
Oh,
You know
okay.
them?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're like English.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fun.
Okay. Well, that's a really cool answer.
Like I say, this is a completely different kind of genre that I'm used to, you know.
It's just not a name I hear very often. So that was that kind of came out of nowhere. That's a really cool one. Hell yeah.
I love everything that they do. Their music makes me feel so sentimental. Even though when I heard it for the first time, I couldn't understand nothing. I didn't understand a single word of what they're singing. But the way they make me feel and how it brought me into my senses. I remember I heard their first album, which I think it was Walking the Dog, I want to say. It was Aim and Ignite, actually. This was an album that came before Some Nights in 2012. So if you guys have the chance to listen to the album, it's really like classical kind of music, you know. So I think that will be my right choice. I know it came out of...
No, that's a great one. That's kind of the point of that. That's a fun one.
Yeah.
All right, but with that being said, we're going to go ahead and start wrapping this up.
Awesome.
What can we look forward to between, let's say, like now and July? Do you have anything going on?
Between right now and July, I don't really have that much going on because last year I was doing this full time. Every weekend, every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Thursdays, I was putting myself out there DJing, and I feel that I already gave people like a little showing of like this is who I am, you know, but the only reason that I don't really want to like put a lot of things going into the future is because I don't have a rush, you know, even though this is something that I love. A lot of people is always telling me like, you should do this, you should do that, you know, you have to do it now. And it's like, look, when when you really love something and when you really love someone, you're not having your friends or your family telling you how to love that person.
Exactly.
You know, you just love it the way you are, and you're gonna take the time to do that. So right now, I'm into a discovery kind of aspect and a discovery kind of part of my life when I'm still learning what my sound is. Even though I might playing electronic music right now, I don't know what's going to be Gregory in the next year or two, you know?
Yeah.
But the only things that I can tell you right now is that I'm working on music, and I'm working on like putting a lot of little events together, because what's most important to me, a part of music, is people, you know? So you guys are going to pretty much see a little events that I'm kind of like going to put together in the future.
Oh, yeah. We're definitely looking forward to that.
Thank you, man.
For this next one, go and look straight at your camera. Tell everybody how they can find you.
Yeah, so you guys can find me on my website. It's www.gregorycaruci.com. That's how you can find me in any social media, but the best place you can find it is right on my website. You're going to find all my mixes. You're going to find all the videos that I've been doing. You're going to find all the songs in Spotify, Apple Music. It's going to be on my website, which is gregorycaruci.com.
Oh, yeah. And then any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else you want to put on while you're on here?
Yes, Portland Water, right here. These guys are the best. I've been having the opportunity of working with them, and I'm really proud of everything that we've done together. And I'm pretty sure this is the beginning of something that's going to be really magnificent for the Portland community.
Very much so.
And to my girlfriend too, Heather, I love you.
Oh, yeah.
My mom, my dad, everyone in Venezuela, I love you guys so much. You're the only reason that I'm here. So thank you to everyone who's watching this. Thank you for the opportunity of being here. This is such an amazing experience. So to any artist that it's out there, you want to be here. Believe me, you guys are going to be here.
Oh, thank you. All right. Now, with that being said, I've got one last question.
Of course.
But before we do, I'm going to steal the camera for just a second.
Of course.
As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. And one more shout out to the Brothers Apothecary, Ronald Records, and Portland Water. Thanks for keeping us hydrated. And with that being said, the final question. And this is entirely up to your interpretation. And I'm pretty excited to hear the answer for this one. But in all of music, what is an album you feel is more on the obscure side? So it's a bit of a deep cut. It's one not a lot of people would know, but it's one you think everybody should know.
Wow. Well, it's a really, really good one. I think it will be the one I just told you a couple minutes ago, Fun, Aim, and Ignite. I think people know Fun for some nice, but they have a lot more music that they have to like give. It's really deep, and actually just recently I was listening to this album, and now that I speak English, I listen.
Oh, it's like you're hearing it again.
I listen it again.
Whoa.
And then now that I'm understanding this, I'm driving back from like Salem or somewhere. So it's gonna take me like an hour or 30 minutes, I don't know. And I'm actually hearing what they're singing. I start bawling, I start crying. I thought this was music that should make you feel happy and everything, or maybe not like on the super secure kind of side. But once I hear this again, I start crying because I was able to understand, and something that has so much impact in my life. Now it's telling me a story. A story that I might be looking, a story that I never probably understood. So I think that will be the best album that I can probably say right now. It's Aim and Ignite by Fun.
Man, that is a really cool experience. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Of course.
All right, but with that being said, we are going to go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'd love to be here, and probably we can do it again.
Yeah, definitely. And this has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. I'm Jimmy.
I'm Gregory.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap. This is not a podcast. This is a show.
Keep jamming.